How's it going, everybody? It's Chad. Over the past, 6, 7, 8 months, I've been getting a lot of email asking where I've been and how come I'm not making videos anymore, because apparently people really enjoyed them. So here we go. I'm going to start a video series of herbs that have been used across, an extended time period, 2,000 to 3,000 years in traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, etc. And that are safe to use. They're very effective if used properly, so you can't just use it one time and think that you're going to become superhuman. And I believe can be more or less an adjunct therapy to proper lifestyle, healthy eating, etc. So I'm going to do a whole series of these herbs that are very easy to obtain, and today I'm profiling Astragalus. So Astragalus is part of the legume family. It's actually a root, and I'll show you some here in a second, but it has properties of being an adaptogen. So more or less, in a nutshell, we could just call an adaptogen something that is basically helps to normalize your function, physical, mental. I'll do a whole video on adaptogens because I could easily rant for a half hour on just that topic, and that's not what we're here to do today. So it is an adaptogen. It's antiviral. It also is very protectant to the liver, nourishing to the lungs and the spleen, according to Chinese medicine. I've noticed myself that after using it, my breathing has become somewhat deeper. I use it on a relatively consistent basis. And see, with this particular herb, it's looked at as more of a food herb. So you can use it in greater quantities if you like. A lot of people will make it up and use it as a base for soup broth. I personally just either drink it or I put it in smoothies, and I've also been making nut milks with it. And funny enough, I've been giving a little bit to my dog on his food, pretty much nightly for the past month or so, and he absolutely digs it. It has a very slightly earthy taste to it, depending upon, the batch that you get. And it also has a slight sweetness, but see, the thing, it's not an intruding flavor. So, if you're eating your quinoa or your rice or whatever you're into, you can put it in there and you almost won't even taste it. You'll notice a little bit, but. So, basically, this is kind of what it looks like. I've only had this boiling for about an hour. So what you want to do is just get it and you put it in the water. So this is a 2 quart, and I just will typically do it for 5 or 6 hours just on a slow boil. This one today, since I actually have some time, I will probably just end up boiling it for probably close to 12 hours. A lot of times too, what I've done is I'll boil it like that for a bit just to get it good and hot and going, and then I'll dump it into a crock pot. That's usually when I'm making a larger batch. And you can leave it in the crock pot, and oftentimes people will just let it go to slow rumble for upwards of 24 to 36 hours. So it's fun. Just experiment with it. See what you have time to do. See what your, how the stuff affects you. You might notice it after it's boiled too long, you don't really quite like taste. So that's completely up to you. Now, with Astragalus, it will keep for about 3 to 4 days in the refrigerator. Now, what I have done in the past is I'll make up a big batch, and my wife and myself and my dog, we go through it pretty quickly. But if I make a really large batch, what I will oftentimes do is dump it into an ice cube trays, and you can freeze it, and then you can just pop it out as needed. So if you're making a smoothie, or you're doing your rice or quinoa, you can pop out a couple cubes, throw it in there, melt it down, cook with that. And so you want to make sure, because after a while, I have drank it after about 5 or 6 days, but it starts to get a little funky and makes me feel a little bit off, but that's just me. I'm kind of sensitive and aware to that stuff. So this is what it looks like. It is, initially what it does is it comes out looking just like a regular root, and in order to make it more usable, what they do is they'll roll it, and you may or may not be able to see, but it does have a tint of yellow to it. Now, for this particular batch, what I did was essentially used about 8 or 10 of these things, and I just rip them into small pieces so it has more surface area, and it'll boil up nicely. Now, when you're buying it, this is, sometimes these are called tongue depressors. And so you can either, they'll be called tongue depressors or whole root, and you can get like that, or they're also called sliced root more often than not. Now, if you ever see it on a website and it says CS, that stands for cut and sifted, and that's what this is. Now, with the cut and sifted, my experience has been that it doesn't feel to have the same power as this stuff, because when you do, you know, if you were to think about it along the similar lines of a fruit, what is going to keep longer? An apple that is whole, like that one over there, or one that has been diced up into a bunch of little pieces. It has, the smaller it is, the more broken up it is, the more of an opportunity it has to oxidize. So, but regardless, you want to make sure that you get it organic. Now, according to one of my books by Ron Teagarden, he says that sometimes you can find cheap Astragalus and it will be very yellow in color, and you want to steer clear of that. And I guess with the cheap stuff, they will actually dye it. And you can take one of these, soak it for a bit, put it on a paper towel, roll it up, and you'll see that it will actually turn yellow. So in anything regarding herbs, it's very tempting to go ahead and buy the cheap stuff. You know, me, I'm always trying to pinch a penny wherever I can, but you want to get good quality stuff, because there's a lot of sketchy things go on with farming practices, and if you're watching this, you're probably well aware of that. So make sure, buy some quality stuff. Mountain Rose Herb is great. I've never been disappointed with that, but there's plenty of other reputable sellers out there. Or even better, if you can find an herb grower in your area that does grow Astragalus, because it does grow in various climates, I would go for that personally, but I don't know anybody who grows it in my area. Plus there's about 3 feet of snow on my ground right now. But so anyways, that's that quick overview. If you have any questions, just shoot them to me. There's going to be a lot more videos coming. I'll probably put out a few a week. And subscribe, like, share, and I'll talk to you later.